Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Kari and today I am doing a books I'm most excited about having gotten from Colorado video, which is a very long title. I'll work it for the actual title, but moving on. As I said multiple times at this point, I got the rest of my books back and I just have not really been focused on what kind of videos I want to make, and then all of a sudden it was the end of the month and we had all of those videos to do. But now I have time to do this, and there were several series slash books that I was extremely excited about finally having, and then it turns out that my mom just threw in a couple extra books or series that she had that she wasn't going to reread but that she knew I wanted. And so I'm going to talk about those books today. Let's get started. We will start with one I've talked about many times before, and that is Mara, Daughter of the Nile by Eloise Jarvis McGraw. This is one of my absolute favorite historical fictions. It is young adult and it is set in ancient Egypt during the reign of Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut is one of the extraordinarily famous Egyptian queens, except the queen is a misnomer because she was pharaoh, which is rather odd, but amazing. And then when her stepson, I think it is, finally dethroned her, he basically tried to obliterate her name from history, which is both amazing and horrifying at the same time for various reasons, which I will not go into. But we follow Mara, who is a slave girl in this time, and Mara suddenly gets caught up in this web of spying and lies and treachery. Beyond that, I won't say anything, but I love this book. There is a romance, it's a good romance, it is nowhere near insta-love, definitely a bit of enemies to lovers, and I adore how this book turns out, and it follows history, and oh, so good. I can't describe it. You have to go read it. Also, it's one of my sister's favorite books, and my sister doesn't read a whole lot, which I guess is also misleading because she does read. We just read very different books, and so when I was trying to be the bossy older sister and make her read everything that I did, this was one of the books that she actually did read and absolutely loved. Therefore, I believe everybody in the world should read this book because I think it's amazing. So I'm incredibly excited to actually have the physical copy with me again. Next, as the dogs go crazy, we have Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. And by the way, not my dogs. I don't own dogs because I'm allergic, but the dogs in my apartment complex. Moving on. This, in case you don't know what it is a non-fiction or a fictionalized account of non-fiction. Whatever you want to call it, I'm not really sure, but Laura Ingalls Wilder was a real person and this was her life, and she wrote books about it. It's a whole series, and then I also have her daughter, Rose Ingalls, whatever her daughter's name is, somewhere down there I have it, I just don't remember what it is. But these were technically my mom's. This is one of the series that she threw in the boxes for me, and I'm very excited because I love these books. I love the fact that it actually happened, even if some of the more personal parts or whatever are taken out of the book or glossed over, because obviously not everybody wants all of their dirty laundry out in the open. But I really love these books. They hold a very fond place in my heart, and I'm incredibly excited to have them and to be able to read them again, because it's been probably at least 10 years since I read them. Next we have the Boxcar Children, which is a large majority of this shelf here, by Gertrude Chandler Warner. This is a series about 4 kids whose parents have both died, and at the start of the series in this book, they don't want to live with their grandfather because they've heard horrible things about him, so they run away and they live in a boxcar in the woods. They are, I believe, 13, 11, 10, and 7 or something. Let's see. Yeah, nope, I got nothing, but they're about that, with a year or two difference, and I really enjoyed reading these. They turn into mysteries more so towards, well, after this book really, and they just go on all of these adventures, and I think the sibling portion of it is absolutely amazing. They're just really fun, easy, fast books for me, and they're very comforting nowadays. Then we have the Bartimaeus Trilogy by Jonathan Stroud, which is The Amulet of Samarkand, The Golem's Eye, and Ptolemy's Gate. These books, The ending crushed me. I understand the ending, it doesn't mean I like it because it crushed me. I did not cry though. But they follow a demon, Bartimaeus, as he is summoned by a master sometime in Victorian England, probably. We're gonna go with Victorian England because it always seems to be then. And specifically, the boy, Nathaniel, is just trying to be a better warlock. He's trying to be really powerful, and he summons Bartimaeus to help him do it. Bartimaeus isn't thrilled about this whole arrangement because the boy is 11 years old. Yep, 11 years old. And you just go from there. There's politics, and part of what I love so much about this series is the footnotes. Similar to Nevernight, there's just footnotes that help with the world building, but also the demon Bartimaeus is narrating this, and so you just get all these incredibly sarcastic comments from him, which are just hilarious, and their explanations, like, with the aid of their lenses, magicians can see clearly onto the second and third planes and blearily onto the fourth. Sholto was no doubt checking me out on these. Fortunately, my inform extended to the fourth, so I was safe. I mean, that one's not particularly sarcastic, but it explains things in it, and I really enjoyed that. I think it was one of the first books that I read that had footnotes in it in that form, and to my surprise, I found I loved it. Then we have a series of, I think, 10 books, and this is the last one, which is the Temeraire novels by Naomi Novik. I've read all but the last two, and absolutely love them. Her descriptions are fantastic. The way she writes in the 19th century sort of tone is mind-blowing to me, and the dragons are just amazing. Temeraire is hilarious and great. He's like a big, fierce, overgrown, lovable dog with scales and wings, and it's amazing. So I'm really excited to finish this. I'm also a little bit nervous, but in the first one we follow Lawrence, who is a sailor in His Majesty's Navy in the early 1800s during the Napoleonic Wars, and they find a dragon egg. Turns out that dragon egg is Temeraire, and he turns out to be this amazing, amazing dragon, and he and Lawrence go on all of these adventures all over the world, from Peru to China to flying over France to, you know, fight Napoleon, as you do. I'm really excited to see where this series goes. I'm also a little bit scared because I love this series and I don't want it to end. Then we have one that is not a series at all. It is just Van Gogh, The Complete Paintings, which, to be honest, I got because I really enjoy Van Gogh's paintings, not as much as I enjoy Degas or Monet, but I still really find his stuff fascinating. This is kind of the period of time in art that I like the most that isn't true realism. Portraiture is fascinating and it's really great if you're studying history, but it's not making me feel anything. Impressionist art makes me feel more, so I enjoy it more. Whereas Cubism is just weird and I don't care. But outside of my nice little rant on art there, I got this a while ago for like half off, and I'm just very excited to finally have it in my possession because it means that I can go through and look at all of this and learn so much more about Van Gogh, because I know basically nothing about him. I know he chopped off his ear, there was something about eating paint and he went mad and he liked sunflowers and whatever that Doctor Who episode is that makes me cry almost every time because it's just, ugh, that episode. But anyway, I'm very excited to have this, just so I can go through it and check it out occasionally. And then the last book is a series, and it's not this one actually, but it is by the same author, Lorraine Snelling. This is her Song of Blessings series. This is book 2. The series that I'm actually talking about is her Red River of the North series, which is behind my camera and in a stack of about 15 books at the bottom, and I didn't really want to get that out, so I went with the top because they're the same family, the same author, and it all made sense. Anyway, the Red River of the North series is a series about, I believe, Norwegian immigrants. They're either Norwegian or Swedish, which is part of the reason it fascinates me, because that is my heritage, and they tootle on over to the Dakotas, specifically North Dakota, specifically right on the Red River. You know, Grand Forks, Fargo area, where I happened to study for a bit, and they farm there. It is brutal because North Dakota winters aren't exactly known to be nice, and they are isolated in the middle of nowhere. where if they slip and break a hip, they could very well die from exposure. So I love the historical fiction aspect of it. They are Christian fiction, but Lorraine Snelling is one of the few Christian fiction authors I actually really enjoy reading. She doesn't hit you over the head, she doesn't even really bring it up all that much. It's just sort of there, and it's part of it, and that I enjoy. I really don't enjoy being hit over the head with anything. Specifically Christian fiction, and Christian fiction does that far too often. Again, off my soapbox. Like I said, I believe it's it's definitely not early, it is late 1800s. I want to say they immigrate in the 1870s or 80s, and then you follow their family through several different series as you grow up, and so you see them from the 1870s or 80s all the way up until the 19 whatevers. This one takes place in Chicago, and we have a Trigby. It's very exciting. But I'm really excited to read these books because I absolutely remember loving them. I also remember loaning the Red River of the North series out to an elementary school classmate, and she thankfully returned them all in good shape. I think that was a large part of why we loaned them to her, my mother and I, because they were my mother's books, is that we knew she would return them in good condition. And she did, so I greatly appreciate that. But that series. Those are the main books, we'll say, that I am psyched to have from Colorado. Obviously, I'm incredibly excited to have all of my books together. It's a lot, but it just is so exciting, and I love it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.